Yo, what is up YouTube, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, we will be doing a ranking. We will rank all the tanks in Final Fantasy Online to get to which one's the best. Now, this is all gonna be just my opinion, what I enjoy. There will be several things I base this on and talk about in this video. But keep in mind that every job or every tank in this game can be played at a high level and is useful in every situation. So just because one tank's not up there doesn't mean it's worse than the other. These are just going to be my opinion on which one I prefer playing, which one I don't like playing, which one I have the least amount of experience on. It will be a combination of everything. So with that being said, go ahead and roll that intro, and we'll get right into the video. Yo, welcome back. So to make this video a thing, I will be using tier list, but we're not going to use all the jobs you see on screen. We're just going to do the tanks for today. There will be a DPS one later. And I will start this with saying, my opinions on the jobs from my last video have completely and utterly changed. I've played them more. I've looked at the data now that it's old or been there for more, and there's more data to go off of. So with that being said, there is more for me to use. But there is one more thing. I have not played all these tank jobs too much. With that being said, I have played a couple of them a lot, and one or two not as much. So this will ultimately be based on how I feel they play. Like, do I have fun playing them? Do I like their aesthetics? Do I think that they bring a lot of utility? Like, I will bring their damage and everything into this, but ultimately, it's going to be my opinion on how I feel they play and how I think they're friendlier to new players rather than some that are not as friendly. So there's a whole list of things that go into my decision in this, but just know all tank jobs, once again, can be played in this game. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into it. And the first one we're going to start with is the Dark Knight. And let me start this off with the Dark Knight is fun to play. It is fun. Everything about that job is fun to me. I love playing Dark Knight. And on the topic of is it really good, while it being one of the tanks that isn't the greatest to have in a raid, it still serves its purpose. It does do decent damage. I think right now it is at the lowest, and I will show all charts while playing or recording this of the rankings charts, and they should be the bottom left right now, and you can see where the Dark Knight sits compared to all the other tanks. Now, with that all being said, Dark Knight's aesthetics, probably one of the best if you want to be an edgelord. Playability, I think the job is very noob friendly. If you don't want to sit there and be more worried about the mechanics, this job does do a good job in just keeping your attention on playing the job. It's a friendly class to play. It's easy. It's not too hard. It's a tank for people looking to try to get into tanking. But with that all being said, I do think there is a tank that is better than this. So I'm going to put it in B tier, which we'll consider it the third best tank so far. This will get changed once I start adding other tanks. Now we're going to the Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker to me is the tank job that I love playing. Much like the Dark Knight, it's easy, fun, quick-paced, and it's easy to play. It's not one of the harder tanks to get down. And honestly, most of the tanks are easy to play because you do have them stats that keep you from dying. So there is that to think about. Tanking is kind of friendly to new players early on. Now, once you get to the later in-game, that's when tanking becomes the forefront of, oh, now I have to tank swap. Now I have to make sure the boss is in the right place because you don't want your melees to not be able to do the maximum amount of damage they can perform. You gotta allow your melee DPS to get their positionals. You've got to keep your healers safe. You've got to make sure your casters are safe. Like, there's a lot to it in the in-game era that does make it. But this is my opinion, and I do think the aesthetics of the Gunbreaker are cool. With that being said, I love Final Fantasy VIII. It's a good Final Fantasy. It's an amazing Final Fantasy. Definitely not better than 7, but it's good. But I would put the Gunbreaker as number 2. It's the number 2 tank of all time, I think. I think number 2 is a good number for it because, yes, aesthetics are there. Playability for new players, it's there. Damage. It does the most damage as any tank, as you can see in the chart below me. It does the most damage. But with that being said, it doesn't bring all the tanking things you would like it to have. It doesn't have the tank utility as good as the next tank job, which with that in it, number 3, the Paladin. Now to me, the Paladin is not as fun to play as the Dark Knight or the Gunbreaker, but it is probably the easiest job to tank as, in my opinion. Its rotation isn't that hard to master. I do think I myself have some experience on it, but I don't have 5.5 experience, so it could be changed. Last time I tanked like that was probably Shadowbringers was the last expansion. Stormblood. Stormblood's when I played Paladin the most, but then dropped it to the side because Shadowbringers brought some new jobs. I do think the Paladin is a good class. I do think it does belong as number 1 tank in the game. And hear me out on this. 1, aesthetics. It's probably got the best aesthetics in the game compared to the White Mage, in my opinion. They focus on the White Mage, Paladin, and like the OG jobs and do a good job with its gear. It has a beautiful gear through and through. Playability. It's still friendly to new players and easy to play, but it's not as fast-paced as the Dark Knight and Gunbreaker. Or the Gunblade. But to me, I like fast-paced jobs. I like not being too like, oh, I could do this and it doesn't really... I like boom, 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 boom. I want to be smashing the keys. I want to be going through a fast rotation. I want to be in the action. And I also want to have the damage. But with that being said, the Paladin offers the best tank utility and the best tank damage, or second best tank damage, in my opinion. It is close with the next job, but that tank utility it does give it the edge over the Gunbreaker. And that's that. Now, time for our 4th job. Our 4th job is the Warrior. Now, the Warrior, to me, is tied with the Gunbreaker. Now, you thought one job was going to get moved to 4th place, but that's just not it. The Warrior, to me, brings good damage. In 5.5, it can sustain itself really good in old content without really needing the healer to be on their best. Now, with that being said, in the newer content, you're still going to need that healer to be able to do their job. But if you're looking to go through old content, the Warrior, Dark Knight, them two were like really good at old content. And of course, the Paladin. Paladin's good throughout everything. All of these jobs, once again, can be played really good. But if you're not looking to stress healing on you too much, I feel like the Dark Knight and the Warrior can clear that content easy without really needing the healer. The Paladin can as well, but I just feel like the damage from the Paladin it's up to par, and it's definitely the second best in damage. There's just something about playing the Dark Knight and the Warrior that allows them to go through the content at a better pace. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if you're going for like a quick kill and quick clear on old content, I feel the Dark Knight and Warrior are really good. With that being said, every one of these tanks can be played. Now, why I tied it with the Gunbreaker is, in 5.5, it got some buffs. It got some buffs that moved it from being probably the third best tank to being close to, if not at the same point as the Gunbreaker. And I know most people are going to put the Gunbreaker as number one right now because of the damage, but to me, the Paladin brings too much tank utility. The Paladin brings a lot to the table. The Gunbreaker brings the damage, but has the tank utility. The Warrior brings Fell Cleave. First of all, Fell Cleave, it's an amazing move. That's like probably one of the best tank moves in the game. Not gonna lie, the Warriors do got that. But with that being said, the Warrior's just not a job for me. I don't like, if you want me to be honest of why I put the Warrior where I would put it, is I don't like axes. I just never, in any game I've played, I've been like, I want my character to have an axe. Axes to me are too bulky. I don't like the way they look. So aesthetics, I think the Warrior is lacking in. Playability, this is the job that I haven't had the most experience with. So with that being said, it could be fun to play. I just haven't put that much time into it. And that's just the honesty on that. But I will tie it with the Gunbreaker just because in 5.5, it is an amazing job to play if you're looking tank. Now, with that being said, don't change your tank class to another just because this video tells you this tank job is better at certain aspects. Every job can be used and played at maximum utility of their job perfectly. You can be a Dark Knight and clear new content. You can be a Gunbreaker and clear every content. You can be a Warrior and clear every content. And the Paladin doesn't need to be said because you're going to see a Paladin 9 times out of 10. Everybody loves the Paladin. It brings the best utility for tanks, in my opinion. But with that being said, we're going to go through what I rank these as and then get us out of here. Number 1 tank in Final Fantasy is the Paladin. Number 2, tied at number 2, is the Gunbreaker and Warrior. And number 3 is the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is lacking in some areas where other jobs are not. Gunbreaker and Warrior, they both do things that make them the second best tank. The Gunbreaker has the damage. The Warrior has the self-sustain. Now the Paladin, the reason it is the number 1 is its tank utility and damage. It is the best tank utility and it is the second best damage from the charts. So it is, in my opinion, the best tank to play. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. If you liked any of it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and just keep in mind, everything can be played. Don't worry about where I put these jobs. They're only there because they're my opinions, and leave it at that. But without further ado, see you and have a good day. Goodbye!